The Arctic is making headlines for all the wrong and right reasons. A Russian nuclear icebreaker shatters records on the northern sea route, while a Canadian firm uncovers rare earth minerals in Greenland. Meanwhile, Arctic sea ice hits another record low, confirming scientists' worst fears. These events are part of a much bigger story. The Arctic is transforming from a frozen frontier into a geopolitical hotspot. Trillions of dollars in untapped oil, gas and minerals are now within reach as the ice recedes. This has triggered a modern gold rush, with nations scrambling for their share. Every new shipping lane and mineral find adds fuel to the fire. The world's major powers, Russia, the US, China and the EU, are all vying for influence. The stakes are enormous. The future of global trade, security and the climate hangs in the balance. Diplomats haggle over boundaries, scientists warn of environmental disaster, and militaries prepare for new challenges. The Arctic's fate will shape the 21st century. The melting ice is both a warning and an invitation, a catalyst for a new era of competition. The story is just beginning, but the consequences will be felt worldwide. The Arctic's trillion-dollar race is underway. Who will win, and at what cost? The Arctic isn't just a frozen wasteland, it's a vibrant, complex region. It's an ocean ringed by 8 nations, home to over 4 million people and dozens of indigenous communities. The Arctic acts as the planet's air conditioner, reflecting sunlight and stabilizing global weather. Melting glaciers here mean rising seas everywhere. For centuries the Arctic was inaccessible, but rapid ice loss is changing that. The region is now a focal point for international politics and commerce. Major powers' interests are colliding, creating a new geopolitical landscape. The Arctic's future is tied to global stability. Understanding it means seeing beyond the ice, to its people, its climate role and its strategic value. As the ice recedes, the world can no longer ignore the Arctic. It's moving from the periphery to the center of global affairs. Melting ice is revealing the Arctic's hidden wealth. The region holds about 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of its natural gas. Russia leads the charge, but the US, Norway and others are eager to follow. The Arctic is also rich in rare earth elements, nickel, copper and diamonds, key to modern technology. Greenland's melting ice is exposing new mineral riches, drawing global interest, especially from China. New shipping routes like the Northern Sea Route and Northwest Passage could revolutionize global trade, slashing transit times and costs. Fish stocks are migrating north, creating lucrative new fisheries but raising sustainability concerns. The Arctic's resources, oil, minerals and fish, are a powerful lure, but every opportunity comes with risk for both the environment and global stability. The race for riches is on, and the world is watching. Extracting Arctic resources is a daunting challenge. Extreme cold, darkness, and drifting ice make operations risky and expensive. Infrastructure is sparse, and any accident like an oil spill could be catastrophic. The region's 8 nations have overlapping, often conflicting territorial claims. Russia, Canada, and Denmark are all staking claims to the seabed, creating a diplomatic chess match. Military buildups are escalating, with Russia reopening bases and NATO increasing patrols. The fragile ecosystem is slow to recover from damage, and increased shipping and mining threaten pollution and habitat loss. Extracting fossil fuels here fuels the very climate crisis melting the Arctic. Environmental risks are immense, putting governments and corporations under global scrutiny. The Arctic's future hangs in the balance between opportunity and peril. Climate change is already rewriting the Arctic's story. The region is warming up to 3 times faster than the rest of the planet. Permanent sea ice is vanishing, glaciers are retreating, and Greenland's ice sheet is melting at record speed. The loss of ice disrupts the global climate, threatening weather patterns and sea levels worldwide. Ironically, the crisis that endangers the Arctic is also unlocking its resources, fueling a dangerous feedback loop. Nations are racing to claim territory and build infrastructure before the window closes. The speed of change is outpacing diplomacy, raising the risk of conflict. The Arctic's meltdown is a national security issue, not just an environmental one. Rising seas and extreme weather are global consequences of Arctic warming. The crisis is unfolding in real time, and the world can't afford to look away. The Arctic Council is the region's main forum for cooperation. It brings together 8 nations and indigenous groups, focusing on science, environment, and sustainable development. But the Council can't address military security, and its decisions are non-binding. Geopolitical tensions, especially after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, have paralyzed much of its work. Meanwhile, a legal scramble for the Arctic seabed is underway. Under international law, countries can claim the seabed if they prove it's an extension of their continental shelf. Russia, Canada, and Denmark have all filed overlapping claims, reaching toward the North Pole. The process is slow and technical, but the stakes are enormous. Control over vast future resources. The final boundaries will shape the Arctic's future, and the world's. The legal and scientific battle for the Arctic is heating up. The Arctic's era of peace is fading as militarization accelerates. Russia is leading, modernizing bases, deploying advanced weapons, and expanding its northern fleet. The US and NATO are responding with new strategies, more icebreakers and joint exercises. The goal: counter Russia's dominance and ensure freedom of navigation. China, calling itself a near-Arctic state, is investing in research, infrastructure, and its own icebreakers. Beijing's ambitions add a new layer of competition and uncertainty. The region is becoming a new Cold War arena, with advanced military hardware and rising risks of miscalculation. A single incident, like a submarine encounter, could escalate quickly. The once peaceful Arctic is now a potential flashpoint between world powers. Environmental crisis and military tension are colliding at the top of the world. The Arctic is home to over 40 indigenous peoples, whose cultures are deeply tied to the land and ice. They are the region's original stewards, holding generations of knowledge about its environment. Rapid warming is threatening their way of life. Hunting is riskier, permafrost is thawing, and communities face relocation. Iconic wildlife like polar bears and walruses are struggling as sea ice vanishes. The entire food web is being disrupted by warming and acidification. Industrial development, shipping, mining, drilling brings pollution, habitat loss, and little consultation with indigenous communities. Economic promises often come at the cost of culture and environment. The Arctic's people and wildlife are on the front lines of climate change. Their survival is a test of our global priorities. The world must listen to their voices as the Arctic transforms. The Arctic hides environmental time bombs with global consequences. Oil spills in these harsh conditions would be nearly impossible to clean up, threatening the ecosystem for decades. The 2020 Norilsk diesel spill, caused by thawing permafrost, was a stark warning. As industrial activity grows, so does the risk of disaster. An even greater threat lies in the permafrost, which stores vast amounts of carbon and methane. Thawing releases these gases, fueling a dangerous feedback loop of more warming and more thaw. In Siberia, explosive methane craters are a dramatic sign of this process. Scientists are racing to understand how much greenhouse gas could be released, and how fast. A sudden surge could push the climate past a tipping point. The Arctic's hidden dangers could accelerate global warming beyond control. The Arctic stands at a crossroads between immense wealth and global catastrophe. The choices made here will ripple across the planet, affecting security, economies, and the climate. Militarization and competition distract from the real crisis, the need for urgent collective action. No single nation can solve the Arctic's challenges alone. International cooperation is essential. Forums like the Arctic Council must be strengthened to address security and environmental threats. Sustainable development guided by science and indigenous knowledge must be the priority. Investing in green technology and respecting indigenous rights are key to a stable future. The fate of the Arctic is a test of our global responsibility. We must manage change wisely, prioritizing long-term stability over short-term gain. The world is watching, the ice is melting, and the time to act is now. The Arctic's future, peaceful or perilous, depends on the choices we make today. Stewardship, not exploitation, must define the next chapter at the top of the world.